the 70s, down in Jamaica land, there was a teacher with a firm hand. Miss G was her name. She ruled the class, no one dare cross her. She made lessons last. Oh, yeah.
Once upon a time in the heart of rural Jamaica, during the 1970s, there was a primary school that was the epitome of discipline and order. This primary school, thanks to a formidable teacher, Miss G, who was the most feared educator in that parish. Her reputation was such that parents often warned their mischievous offspring, "If you ever make Miss G take up her belt, you better pray she spare your eyes." The classroom under Miss G's watchful eyes was where not even a pencil could dare roll off the desk without permission. Her trusted ally in maintaining discipline was her belt, which was always looped and ready on her side like a coiled serpent waiting to strike. The mere sight of the leather strap was enough to turn a rowdy class in a picture of angelic innocence. Miss G had been teaching since what seemed like the dawn of time, and her legendary use of the belt was spoken of in hushed tones. It was said that she could merely glance at the belt and the tears would start streaming down faces of the most brutal boys and girls. Even parents who had once sat in her classroom, now grown, insisted that the children be placed under her tutelage, believing firmly in her strict and effective methods. One day, during a much-anticipated recess, young Richie, known for his cheeky grins and boundless energy, decided to challenge the status quo, ignoring the well-known rules of not playing on the corridor during the break. He began a game of tag with his friends. They laughed and they enjoyed themselves, echoing through the school. But their merry time was short-lived. From the corner of her eye, Miss G spotted the forbidden playing. With strict motion, she grabbed her belt. Like a lioness stalking her prey, she began her pursuit. The corridor, polished to shine, became Richie's unintended ally, allowing him to slide with ease. As Miss G closed in, Richie was filled with fear and thrill. Pushing his speed to the limit, with his eyes tightly shut, he zoomed past Miss G, who was caught off guard by his speed. She swiped the air with her belt, missing Richie. Richie's daring escape became the stuff of legend. His name whispered in awe among his peers that day, and when the recess ended, he went back to class. In his moment of glory, he had escaped Miss G. And as Miss J, who was his maths teacher, began teaching his class, he looked around. His world came crashing down when he saw Miss G, like a storm brewing in her eyes, enter the room and asked Miss J for a moment. She approached Richie, who was sandwiched between two unsuspected students, and with a voice that could curdle milk, she bellowed, "Run now, boy." Before Richie could utter a word, the belt was down, one slap. He cried, "Lord!" His loud cry filled the room as he pleaded for mercy. But Miss G was unmoved and responded, "You a cry? You don't get nothing yet." And as the word sorry escaped Richie's lips, he received the first real lash, which sent him propelling over the desk out of the classroom, declaring his intent to inform his father. Within hours, Richie's father arrived, also a former student of the fearsome Miss G, and he arrived at the school. After hearing the tale, corroborated by a tearful Richie, he was now prepared to dispense his own brand of discipline, but Miss G intervened, stating that the matter was already dealt with. From that day forward, Richie never dared to defy the rules of the corridor. The story of Miss G and Richie became a humorous one, reminding that the Jamaica system was one of discipline back then. Discipline was king, and the belt ruled like an iron fist. It serves as a reflection on how times have changed, prompting us to consider the evolution of our societal norms and the methods we use to guide our children's pathway. As we navigate the complexities of modern parenting, It's essential to reflect on the lessons of the past and adapt them to suit the present. The story of Miss G and Richie, set in Jamaica's classroom, is one that is humorous yet thought-provoking, reminding us how discipline and guidance have evolved over the years. In those days, the belt was a symbol of authority, a tool for instilling discipline. While we no longer rely on such methods, the underlying principles of setting boundaries and teaching respect remains critical. Today, we have the opportunities to employ positive and constructive approaches to discipline, fostering an environment of understanding and open communication. However, for the record, the belt did not endanger my life. Encourage your children to express themselves, to ask questions, and learn from their mistakes. Teach them the value of respect not through fear, but through empathy and understanding. Let them know that their actions have consequences, but also that they are loved and supported unconditionally. In this digital age, let me also say, where distractions are plentiful, set aside quality time to connect with them, to share stories, and impart the wisdom they need to navigate the world. If you're a parent listening to this, your role is not just about providing your children with things, but to help them to grow responsible and, of course, have compassion and be thoughtful. If you're a child listening to this, you must remember to obey your parents. Let's take these lessons from the past and adapt them for today and create brighter futures for everyone. So for now, remember to subscribe for more stories.
One day across her, she made lessons last. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Now Richie was a troublemaker, oh so bold. Thought he could dance to a different beat with soul. But Miss G caught wind of his sneaky ways. She showed him who's boss for the rest of his days. When Miss G caught wind of his sneaky ways, she showed him who's boss for the rest of his days.